Ooh, this is cool. Yes. Welcome to tonight's show. I'm getting pro here. Yeah. So I went ahead and did a thing and got myself some this really cool piece of equipment that I'll be using more often. I'll tell you more about it in another video. Good evening, everybody. I decided to go ahead and come in here and hello, Ashley Ann. Good to see you, love. I am popping in here on my regular channel, my Facebook page, because somebody, a sweet, lovely friend of mine, has been asking me to write or to do a video on books that have changed my life. These are not your regular run of the mill books. They're interesting, and but that's why they change your life, right? So I'm going to go in order with how I found them or how they found me. I honestly think it's one of those things where um, things come to you when the time comes. Oh, hello, Joe. Thank you. I love you. Thank you very much. It's good to see you. Um, I'll start with my first book here. So this book called Letting Go, The Pathway to Surrender by Dr. David R. Hawkins. Um, this is one of the books that I have on my Audible that I listen to. I think I've listened to it about 5 times. Um, oh my gosh, I don't know. It really, hello, Christina. It's one of those books that is almost like a reference book for me now. Hello, Mona. Good to see you. It's a reference book because letting go, easier said than done. But this is, he was like it says here, an MD. He was a psychiatrist, but he also has a PhD um, hold on, let's see. Oh, it's amazing how much this man knows, but the way he writes this book, it's not easy to digest. Um, but that's why I call it my reference book, and I listen to it so often. I'll go on walks, and this is usually what's playing. But it has these nuggets of information that change your world. Like for example, how do the main tool, letting go, is this simple. When you feel like something is washing over you, an anger of sorts or a sadness of sorts, um, we usually go into the thought of why are we angry or why are we sad. This is a way of, instead of going to the thought pattern, is to allow the energy of the anger or the sadness to go through you instead of you holding on to it and trying to basically chew it to shreds in your mind and creating more stress for yourself. So the idea is literally just to let it go. But it is a powerful, powerful book. The examples are marvelous. And it just shows you how we're so connected energetically that when we don't let go, things we're out of flow. We lose ourselves. We lose what we're trying to do and accomplish at the moment. But when we do let go, when we feel like, you know what, peace is more important for me than holding on to this right now, you kind of like your energy relaxes and everything around you works out better. So super powerful book. I could probably do a whole series on just this book. In fact, maybe I'll do that because he talks about the different levels of energy and how we can start at the bottom, shame, guilt, actually apathy, and then go all the way up through the levels to courage, to pride, courage, all the way to peace, and then love, love, then peace. Anyway, it's really interesting. It does talk about energy. It has a lot of scientific research behind it, but I know that for some people, this might be a little different. But that's what I love about it because we solve problems by thinking outside the box, usually, instead of going through the same thing over and over again, where we don't solve anything. And well, that's not working. We're in conclusion. We're like, well, it needs to work this way. Well, that hasn't worked. So what else is possible? Which leads me to my next book. So Letting Go, David R. Hawkins. I'll put it on, you know what? I'll probably go back in there and edit my description so you guys can have it in there. So my husband was going through some crazy stuff for a little bit, and I had to be space for him at that time. But what was really cool is he decided to take reins of his own stuff. And he is a fantastic, deep person who likes to find information of, again, a different sort. Because if what's in the box is not working, like for example, you're working hard, you're ticking off all the boxes, you're a good husband, you're a good provider, you work hard at work, and it's still not working. You know, the boss isn't really listening to you or treating you with the respect you deserve, you feel you deserve, right? um, it gets very tiring when you feel like you're doing the right thing and nothing is working out. And that's basically where he got to at one point, not with that specific situation, but with his own situation. But he decided to do something about it. So he started running every day and then looking at all these books. And then he found this book. And this one is Being You, Changing the World by Dr. Dain Heer. He is a chiropractor, but he started working with this other gentleman called Gary Douglas. And together they formed this thing called Access Consciousness. We're talking weird. Not everybody talks. You know what? I shouldn't say that, because now it feels like more and more of us are starting to get out of the energetic and spiritual closet and talk about this stuff. I've never minded talking about it, but now I'm really public about it because I'm obviously here on Facebook Live telling people, hey, y'all, let's talk about energy today. But it's kind of cool because there's people talking about vibe and vibing. I've always talked about vibration, and people have always talked to me, thought I was nuts, but there's something to be said about energy. So he very much talks about energy and how we can change it. And they have all of these little tools, these sayings, and I use them all the time in all of my sessions with my clients. Um, there's a wonderful that one that I think I've already spoken to in my Facebook lives when I was doing my 30-day challenge. And one of my favorites is Return to Sender with Consciousness. And that comes from this book right here. Most of us, especially now that we live in this energetic soup, especially when you're listening to media, anything that has to do with the news, um, just pay attention to you. How do you feel after you watch the news? Do you really feel like yourself, or are you agitated? Are you at peace? You know, it just start with the observer, then move to changing something if you want to change it. But what I love about him, by saying being you and changing the world, this is the essence of what I'd like for people to do for themselves. If you are you completely without worrying about what people might think, like right here I am finally in my full glory. I think I've always been that way, but I really went full blown Nicole in the last few years, thanks to my children with autism, because they showed me really quick it doesn't matter what people think. It only matters your experience in this world. So you only get one chance at this, in this embodiment, in this time period, with the people that are surrounding you. So why not make it the best you can make it? So Being You, Changing the World talks about every point of view that we tend to have on things that just happen, and how we tend to assign energy or polarity to things. So an event happens, and for some people it's a good event, and for some people it's a bad event. For some people it's a neutral event. So it's really about how you feel about it and then what you want to do afterwards. So again, this Being You, Changing the World is fantastic. I also have a whole series on this. Actually, these people are amazing. So this is one of the certifications I have is Access Bars through Access Consciousness. And they're just, you have to read it to understand what I'm talking about. So maybe we'll have a, yes, Ashley Ann, I've avoided the news for years. Good for you. Yes. Um, it's just like, okay, tell me about the weather. We're good. And even then, just be ready. um, and I don't mean that to If you are doing the best you can with the news you hear to do a positive impact in the world, then the news have helped you, and they have been they have been a collaboration for you, a contribution for you. But if it's not being a contribution, just check in, because you can always listen to it later or switch it to a different channel, just something else that will edify you. Anyway, back to the book. So, being you, changing the world, kind of reminds you that you are an infinite being in a body, and that you are much more powerful than your physical reality makes you think. So, yeah, we're talking about some really interesting stuff. So, this is the second one. I got two more for you guys. And I kind of went out of order because I actually did this one first, then being you. So, hold on. Letting Go one, The Universe Has Your Back by Gabby Bernstein two, and then I did Being You, Changing the World. What's interesting about books, if you start paying attention, when people mention books to you, they tend to come to you when you're ready for them. If you're opening a book and you're like, I don't like reading, I don't read, that's okay. You don't have to. This is why Audible is so awesome. I do Audible for The Universe Has Your Back. And for actually, I did Audible for all of these, and I ended up getting a paper copy because I want to be able to go in there and, get notes and be able to use these tools for all the things that I'm creating. Because I'm actually creating a course for people that want to apply what I do in my everyday basis to their lives to make it a practical walking the talk kind of thing. So this is why I got the physical book, but Audibles are fantastic. So this one I also use as a reference book because it has a wonderful. It's nice and short. This one's very accessible, so you don't have to be super intellectual or heady. Like for this one, I think you need a little bit more. I would say that definitely do this one. So when I did this one, yes, Ashley, and I totally take notes when I read them. So when I did the first one, I didn't have the physical copy. When I read this the first time, it was actually Audible. But I ended up taking so many notes that I almost wrote the whole book out. And so, yes, I take notes because what you get out again, an event happens, right? A sentence is expressed, and what that it is a wonder. I'm so glad you love this book, Elizabeth. Um, when you read a sentence and I read the same sentence with you, you might get something much deeper than I got. So you write that down so you can share that with other people because we all need to be reminded. The Universe Has Your Back. It just has these fantastic little tools to start getting you in touch with your intuition, your imagination, your ability. Yes, notes. That's how it all sticks to me too. Writing them. So she has these fantastic little meditations in there. I had the most beautiful meditation, and again, another series I could do with this book. A very spiritual experience after doing one of the meditations. I think it was the one with I am thine. In this where she asks you to do it for about 40 days. Hello, Jamie. Good to see you. I'm so glad you're reading this. If you get to that point where you're reading the that meditation where she suggests it for 40 days, do it. I did it for 40 days just because I wanted to see what happened. And I had the most glorious, freeing, kind of a marrying between my religious beliefs at the time and all my guilt associated with that. And then this entity that came in to release all of that for me. And I was at peace with religion itself, with people's spirituality and how they practice the religion I used to practice. And for me to be able to be space for them and really be compassionate towards myself and my experience of spirituality in this body. So this book was magic for that. Again, one of those that you just go back to over and over again. I mean, just the title, The Universe Has Your Back. You immediately just feel like, yeah, we're good. It's going to be just fine. I love her. She has a bunch of other ones. She has Super Attractor, Judgment Detox. this is the one that I always go to. I just love this one. Miracles May Happen. I have not read. Um, but I mean, she's just, this is what she stands for, and she just continues to do it. So I highly recommend Gabby Bernstein. Follow her on Instagram too. I think should be good. And then this one is actually another thing that this is another, this is the one that I actually ended up certifying in, as well as the Access Bars people. So they have these Access Consciousness people have so many different classes and levels that you can go to. The same thing with Theta Healing. But what I loved about Theta Healing is that it talks about some pretty, again, not everybody's going to receive this book, but that's okay because I'm cool with that. This is for the people that want this book. I've done a Theta Healing Advanced, Theta Healing Digging Deeper, and Theta Healing The Creator in You. What's really cool is that she's released them as books. So I can, talk about the book, but if you wanted to become a certified Theta Healer, you need to go to an instructor of Theta Healing. I know one that's fantastic, which is my instructor, and she's still certifying people. But what's really cool is you don't have to, because it does cost money. I will say this about paying about anything like this, paying for courses of this nature. For me, it's an investment that I happily paid for. To get certified in Theta Healing, I paid $400, almost $500 for that one weekend. Was it worth it? Absolutely. How often do I use Theta Healing? All the time. I am constantly connected to what we call the seventh plane, which is really, by the way, we all have that ability. This is again what I love about these books being out there. This is not Gabby. This is actually Vianna Stibal. There you go. No glare. Vianna Stibal. And Vianna actually has, I think she has a whole family up in Montana where her kids are now teaching these classes, but she also channeled this specific healing modality. So when I'm talking about a healing modality, again, this is for the people that aren't familiar with energy, but we all have energy going through us. We have emotional energy, spiritual energy, physical energy. Everything really is truly energy. But what's amazing about this, it's a hypnotic, meditative state that you end up going to. Like the title implies, you go into the theta brainwave. So, oh, sorry, Ashley. No, does Gabby make The Universe Has Your Back deck? Yes, she does have The Universe Has Your Back deck, and I have it, and it's real sweet. I like it. But I like my other oracle cards. So it's just a wonderful one for like an inspirational kind of thing about Gabby. So back to Theta Healing before I forget. So the thing about Theta Healing, this book takes you through the whole meditation so you can do it on your own. It explains all the different levels, but at a very introductory level. So this is why I went ahead and got the certification, because I was like, I need to know how to do this. I need someone to train me to do this because I want to do this. So Ashley, if you want, I can send you the information for my instructor. I'm actually going to be looking and teaching it, but I won't be able to certify it. The reason why I would teach it was just to kind of help people do it for themselves. If you want to become a practitioner, then you got to get a certification for it. But if you want to do it for yourself, I'd be happy to help. So how this works is right now I'm in a beta alpha, I would say, because I'm pretty calm right now. The meditative state is the alpha brain state. The beta state is when you're thinking and your brain's going really fast. Theta is when you're about to fall asleep. And this is where all that subconscious can be reprogrammed. And that's what we do. We go into that level. And then she talks about all these different levels of existence. Okay, Ashley, we'll talk about it. I'll go into the soul tribe in just a second and tell everybody about that stuff too. But what's amazing is 80% of our brain, our thoughts, are operating at the subconscious level, according to this book. This is she actually does quote some scientific research on how we operate. Like we might want to change something willingly with the conscious mind, But that's about 20% of our brain, while the other 80% has some weird ass belief system that you can't throw away food because somebody in China is going to die. And so even though you might be dieting and trying to lose weight, you still have this background thing. It's like, no, but I can't throw it away. And you can't help yourself because this is something that came either from your childhood. And in this book, we talk about previous lifetimes, or it's in your DNA, which there is scientific proof that now we're seeing how DNA, when there's trauma in the parent, is actually passed through in the DNA to the children. That's interesting. Um, so what we would do is release all of that. I am a testament to this stuff. This is why I do this. Whether you believe it or not, it's cool. It works for me. And I would love to help people who would want to go through this book. If it's something that calls to you, you definitely read it because it has a lot to give. So these are my 4 books that I love to come back to over and over again. Um, like I said, I would probably give a class on each one just because they're so powerful. Um, I'm trying to think of what else I can say with this. Yeah, I think that's it for now. Unless there's any questions that y'all want to put in there in in the chat, or any suggestions or anything like that. Oh my gosh, the live's going quickly today. I just realized. Um, Yes, Jamie, you're so sweet. It really does, because if there's something that you want to change in yourself that just has not released, and you need help, that's the best thing to do, is to go into that level of the subconscious, of going into that hypnotic state. I mean, we're talking about, there's a lot of hypnosis therapies out there. So it's basically the same thing. But it also goes into the deeply spiritual level. It goes into different lifetimes. It really goes into all kinds of interesting stuff. So, okay, yes. Oh, you're so welcome, Ashley. My pleasure. I would love to. I guess I'll be here next week. Just to keep adding to all this stuff. Hello, beautiful. I know, right? It sounds pretty cool. I'm kind of in love with it. By the way, check it out. Let's see. I got people clapping in the background. I know, this is ridiculous. I'm having fun. Um, I'm sure we're going to have some interviews with some amazing people that I already see in the comments section. Um, oh yes, you'll see all the books there. So yeah, that's it for today, ladies and gentlemen. I hope it is of service to y'all. If you have any questions, please put them in the comments and I'll check them out later and see what I can find. If there's so many other books, but for now I figured I'd start with this. You're so welcome. I love y'all so much. And yeah, I'll catch you in the next video. God bless. I'll see you soon. Bye guys.